In response to the executive orders issued by the Governor of the State of California, the following meeting of the Board of Education of Del Mar Municipal District will be conducted in person, following all current health regulations in effect at the time of the meeting. 1.1 is a call to order of open session. Open session of the July 27th, 2022 Governing Board of Trustees meeting is called to order at 4:46 p.m. 1.2 is public input concerning items in the closed session agenda. We will now call members of the public who have requested to address the governing board regarding items that are on the closed session agenda. Is there any public input concerning closed session item? No. 1.3 is adjournment into closed session. The board will meet in closed session to consider the following matters. 2.1, conference with legal counsel pending litigation, Government Code Section 549, 56.9 D1. One matter as is identified on the agenda. And 2.2, conference with legal counsel pending litigation, Government Code Section 549, 56.9 D1. One matter as is identified on the agenda. The board will now adjourn into closed session at 4:47 p.m. Hello again. We are at item 3.1, reconvene open session. We are reconvening open session at 6:10 p.m. By law and board policy, I must notify you that this meeting is being recorded. By law and board policy, any member of the public may address the board on an item on the agenda or any non-agenda item, but the public must present a written request to the board. Therefore, I ask you to kindly submit your speaker slips at this time to help us run an efficient meeting. Speaker slips for non-agenda items need to be turned in prior to item 4.2, hearing of the public regarding non-agenda items. You will be recognized and called to the voting at that time. You will have 3 minutes to address the governing board. For those individuals who wish to comment on a particular agenda item, your speaker slip will need to be turned in by item 5.3, hearing of the public regarding agenda items. You'll be recognized and called to the podium when your requested agenda item comes up. You'll have 3 minutes to address the governing board. 3.2, report of action taken in closed session. The governing board met in closed session and no action was taken. 3.3 is the Pledge of Allegiance. We will now welcome Colin Storr to lead us in the pledge.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of course, approval of the agenda. There's one change to the agenda, which is the removal of consent items 6.7 and 6.13. Those items will be brought to the board next month. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 items removed?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion to approve the agenda as amended has passed. 9.5 is call to order of the meeting of the legislative body at CFD number 95-1. Get ready, guys. A bit of a road to get through these next 2 hearings, but we can do it. Okay, I would like to call to order the meeting of the legislative body of CFD number 95-1 at 6:13 p.m. 3.6 is approval of agenda for the meeting of the legislative body of CFD number Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion to approve the agenda is passed. 3.7 is board approval, minutes of the July 28th, 2021 CFD number 95-1 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion to approve the minutes is passed. 3.8, board approval resolution number CFD 9598. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Del Mar Union School District acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District 95-1, determining adjustments in special tax rates for such community facilities district for fiscal year 2020 to 2023. Crystal Hunty will be introducing Doug Boyd.
Good evening, President Halpern, members of the board, clerk. This evening we have Doug Floyd with Coppola and Gruber here, who will be able to give you a little bit of information and answer any questions you may have about the this resolution and the upcoming resolutions on 95-1 and 99-1. Thank you, Chris. Good evening, board members, Dr. McClure, district staff in the audience. We're the special tax administrator for the Community Facilities District. This item is really to enroll the annual special taxes with the County of San Diego for placement on the tax bills. It's an item that comes to the board each year. And the rates for the CFDs are unchanged, meaning there's no new development within the Community Facilities 95-1. The revenues that are collected from the CFD taxes are primarily used to repay bonds that were issued, and those bonds were issued in order to pay for school facilities for the district. I'll open it up to any questions that board members may have regarding CFD 95-1.
Are there any questions? Okay. So we need a resolution to approve, a motion to approve resolution number CFD 9598.
I'll move to approve.
Scott, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion to approve the resolution is passed. 3.9 is the board approval of resolution number CFD 9599, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Del Mar Union School District acting as a legislative body of the Community Facilities District 95-1, establishing a budget for fiscal year 2022-23, directing the levy of the special tax and taking related actions. We need a motion to approve resolution number CFD 9599.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Is that Scott or
Scott.
Scott? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion has passed. 3.10. Board approval, adjournment of the meeting of the legislative body of CFD number 95-1. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 6:16 p.m. 3.11, call to order the meeting of legislative body of CFD 99-1. I would like to call to order the meeting of legislative body of CFD 99-1 at 6:16 p.m. 3.12, board approval, agenda for the meeting of legislative body of CFD number 991. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Or a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion to approve the agenda is passed. 3.13, board approval, minutes of the July 28th, 2021 CFD number 991 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion to approve the minutes is passed. 3.14, board approval of resolution number CFD 9964. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Del Mar Union School District acting as legislative body of the Community Facilities District 991, determining adjustments in special tax rates for such Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2022-2023. Back to you.
This, similar to the previous item, this action would approve the special tax rates for community facilities district number 99-1, which is also known as the Cummings Ranch CFD, and the taxes that are collected from the revenues would be used to repay bonds. The bonds are issued to pay for school facilities.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to approve resolution number CFD 9964?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion to approve the resolution has passed. Number 10. 3.15, board approval of resolution number CFD 9965. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Delmarva Union School District acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District number 99-1, establishing a budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, directing the levy of the special tax and taking related actions. Is there a motion to approve resolution number CFD 9965?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion to approve the resolution is passed. 3.16, adjournment of the meeting of the legislative body of CFD number 991. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meetings adjourned at 6:19 p.m. Okay. 4.1, correspondence, Dr. McCoy.
Good evening, the superintendent's
Yes,
office.
thank you.
The superintendent's office received the following correspondence regarding district business on the topic of health, safety protocols, guidelines, and practices. That concludes the correspondence. Thank you.
4.2 is hearing the public regarding non-agenda items. We will now call members of the public who have requested to address the board on items that are not on the agenda. Is there any public input concerning non-agenda items? No. Okay. 5.2 is board reports, governing board members. Start with Ian.
Okay. Hi, good evening. Let's see. I don't think I have anything to report for activities this month. But I would like to address an issue that's come up in recent meetings regarding all-day kindergarten. And I was not here on this board when the transition was made from the modified schedule of kindergarten to the full-day schedule. When that happened, it was decided that the first 6 weeks would remain modified. So that means that the students get out at 12:30 rather than 2:30. And the reason that I've, heard is varied, but the one that I think is more appropriate to address right now is that the teachers want that time to assess students on a more personalized individual level, which as a teacher, I think is valuable and I see the benefit of that. My concern with having students being released at 12:30 for the first 6 weeks of school is twofold. I think that the first concern is what are the students doing when they're not in the classroom those first 6 weeks? This comes to, I would guess, about 60 hours. I think it's valuable for them to be in class, learning, participating in enriching activities during that time. And I think that assessments can be conducted concurrently while students are in the classroom. I've had personal experience with this, and so one of the ideas that I have thought of is having, and I've done this as a substitute teacher, coming in and assisting with the class while the teacher can meet with one or a small group of students to conduct assessments. My second concern is the financial burden it may place on families who are, for whatever reason, under an obligation to provide supplemental childcare. They're unable to come at 12:30 to pick up their students, their children. And so they need to then find that supplemental care, whether it be a nanny, a babysitter, or use an aftercare program. And currently, the district does give the opportunity for families to use the after-school program, but it's at a fee of, for kindergartners, $80 per week, in addition to a $75 registration fee, so it comes up to about like $555. So basically, what I'm seeing is that we're potentially providing this personalized, individualized assessment, but it's potentially at a cost. And we're not a private school district, we're a public school district. So I would like to propose that we vote on this issue so that beginning in this coming 2022-23 school year, we have all-day kindergarten provided to our kindergarten families. And my proposal is that we use substitutes to supplement the instructional services that teachers will need while they're conducting assessments. And I think we might need to have a special board meeting to make this happen since it's not an agenda item. So that is my proposal, and I conclude my report. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Catherine, and I heard your request to have a special meeting to talk about this, since the school year is only 2.5 weeks away. Unfortunately, we can't discuss it here, so we can't, it's not on the agenda, so we can't vote on it here, so I think everybody knows that. But I do think it would be great if the superintendent could reach out to board members to just, to get their pulse on this after the meeting, and to see what people think, because this is just kind of getting very close to the school year, but good for everybody to weigh in. And then, of course, we want to make sure that stakeholders are involved in the decision, so in particular parents and teachers and anyone else who would be affected. So I'm sure we all agree that would be a critical component of making any decision like this. Asking Dr. Clark just to follow up after the meeting with the board members.
Okay, so for my report, the one thing I did attend the San Diego County Office of Education Budget Priorities Budget Perspectives workshop that was done by the Capital Advisors group. And so, I mean, the whole point about the budget is actually there's a lot of money that the state is throwing in, especially the increase in the base funding. There's a lot of one-time money, but they did caution that we don't get used to the one-time money because they're expected to just dry up in future years because we are so dependent on certain high-worth individuals. I mean, the top three, the personal income tax, the sales, and the corporate taxes are the big three revenue. 2/3 of that is the personal income tax, and 50% of that personal income tax comes from the top 1% of the taxpayers. So as if we get into a recession, the stock market has a hiccup, that money, all this money that we think we have here in the budget will dry up. So don't get hooked on one-time money is kind of the what they were saying. There are some block grants, learning recovery block grant, and I think probably we'll hear more from others. There's an art, music, and instructional materials block grant. There is TK money, but none for community-funded districts. So we would not be able to get any additional money if we wanted to do anything for TK. There is some special ed money, $500 million ongoing to special ed block grant to increase the space grant, but it's still woefully underfunded. And school nutrition money and some other things for facilities, but it's positive for this year in terms of funding from the budget. There's still a lot of things that are going through the legislature, but the bottom line is don't get used to the one-time money. I think that's the take-home message. That's it for me.
Because one-time money is one-time money. It's pretty definition. I only have 3 things. First, what we just went through with those CFD things that we just talked about and having Doug here, it overlaps. In fact, the North City West School Facilities Financing Authority, of which I am the chair, is the entity that oversees the taxes that we just dealt with, so that it would repay for the monies that were issued 20 years ago, something like that. So these are old things that we're coming back, and I just wanted to put that together so people understood how that all fit. Number two, with regard to the kindergarten, I know enough to know that I don't know enough. And so my suggestion would be that we get the stakeholders together, the others who have input on this, to give us more information before we take a vote to find out where all this comes down, because I don't want to do a knee-jerk reaction to something that, you know, may be emotional for some, and I don't want to come off half-cocked and make that determination. So I think we need to, if we have a special meeting, and I think we should have some sort of special meeting, it should be one that is focused on that, where we have all sides being put together and have maybe even a discussion type of situation where we can involve ourselves and learn what everybody's thinking before we make that vote. And finally, it's August, and summer's almost over. So I love this meeting because we can kind of take a sigh before we start school next month. But then I realize how quickly the year goes by, and I bring my kids one to law school next month, and that just freaks me out. In any event, there are certain things you can't avoid, and I think time is one of them. Enjoy the rest of your summer, everybody, because it's ending soon.
I don't have anything this month.
I have nothing to report. Okay, now we are at item 5.3, hearing of the public, well, sorry.
You're trying to start.
Oh, we're going to start already, okay. All right, now. So, what I missed, 10 is one. Okay, 5.3, hearing of the public regarding agenda items. Are there any? For anyone who would like to address the governing board on a particular agenda item, your speaker slip will need to be turned in at this time. If you recognize and call to the podium when your requested agenda item comes up, you'll have 3 minutes to address the governing board. Okay. And then we're going to come back.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to come back to 5.2, the superintendent report, before we forget. And we're going to skip over to 10.2, 10.1, which is the time certain item. So 10.1 is board approval of resolution 2022-20.
Is it another? I request that we do 5.5 because that's the public hearing for 10.1. I know we didn't do a time certain because I thought we'd get to 5.5 before 6:30.
Oh, look at
I
us.
apologize.
Okay, I read those resolutions really fast.
Got it.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and do the superintendent report.
Or do you want to do 5.5?
Did you want to, well, do you want to just go ahead and do 5.5 and then, all
If
right, let's go, we do that.
we need 5.5 and then we'll go to 5.6/10.1.
So, okay, I have to read this one and then just go straight on. I got it. 5.5. 5.6 is that at 6:30, which is now, there's a time certain item, which is 10.1. Board approval resolution of 2022-20 to increase the statutory school fees imposed on new residential and commercial industrial development projects. 10.1 is a time certain item the board will consider item 10.1 at 6:30 p.m. It is 6:30 p.m. Now we will skip over to 10.1.
And I,
And
5.5 first.
5.5
He
is
just wasn't expecting, we thought we'd get there already.
all right.
He did his best to guess on the timing.
Okay, 5.5 is public hearing regarding increasing statutory school facilities fees imposed on new residential and commercial industrial construction pursuant to Education Code Section 17620 and Government Code Section 65995. This is the time designated for the public hearing on the increase of statutory school fees in accordance with Education Code Section 17620 and Government Code Section 65995. I declare that the public hearing is now open at 6:32 PM. The board will accept any public written comments. No comments. Crystal Hunt, you will now introduce Doug Floyd with Call Point River.
Thank you, President Halpern, members of the board, Superintendent Clerk. Next year, I'll make sure that both of these are time certain, so my apologies.
Not to read the future.
So again, Christelle Henty, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, and we have Doug Floyd, top of River here, who will give us a little bit of information on the this item 5.5, and then we'll move into our resolution for 10.1.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, board members, Dr. McClure, district staff. As these items suggested, this follows the legal process for consideration to increase statutory fees, or otherwise known as level 1 fees. These are fees that districts are authorized to charge against new residential and commercial construction. Level 1 fees are capped, meaning there's a maximum amount that school districts across the state can charge. And the fee caps are subject to inflationary adjustment in even number of years by the state allocation board. In February of this year, the state allocation board increased the fee caps by approximately 17%. This is based on a construction cost index that's approved by the state. And in order for individual school districts to increase their own fees to the fee cap, they must prepare or have prepared a fee justification study which demonstrates the need for the school fees. Towards that end, my firm assisted the district with the preparation of a 2022 fee justification study, and we looked at the project needs of the district that were outlined in the facilities master plan from 2018 and updated, considering also the Measure MM funding that was approved, and looking at, the district would still need those fees to offset impact from the students generated from new development. And with that, I'll wait for 10.1 for any questions that were.
Okay, and I think I have to ask, have any written comments been received regarding the school fee justification study by either mail or email?
No.
Okay, and are there any public comments for this item? Is there? Okay. If there are no public comments, I will declare the public hearing closed at 6:35 PM. Okay, 10.1. Board approval resolution number 2022-20 to increase statutory school fees imposed on new residential and commercial industrial development projects. Okay, is there any additional comment or
Just a
explanation?
question.
Yeah.
What development areas are left in our district?
We looked at information from the city of Del Mar and the city of San Diego. The state requires the legislation that, one, we project the number of students or the number of units. They don't really give a time frame, so we say 10 years in our study. Over the next 10 years, based on development plans, our projection is 550 units. These are different pockets. It also includes units that are within the community facilities districts. So just based on that information, it's just under 550 units.
Okay, and I know from firsthand experience, we found that there was an area nobody anticipated would be built on, and it was built on. And so we had to deal with that as a CMD. So I do know there's like hidden pockets of land, but this is money that a developer would pay to the district to ensure that capacity is met, correct?
Yeah, the purpose of the fees are to provide for the construction or reconstruction of facilities. So we look at it from the perspective that without certain capital improvement projects, even at your existing sites, that at some point, the facilities would deteriorate or would not be serviceable to these students. So there is an impact from all development, from new development, also existing development. So for the purpose of this study, we're looking at just the new development impact.
Thank you.
Are these fees that only the developers pay?
It's for new residential and commercial construction, but it also includes additions over 500 square feet. So to build an addition or accessory dwelling unit on a home, part of the property.
So for the most part, generally, it's just developer fees.
Mostly new development. Part.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2022-20 to increase statutory school fees imposed on new residential and commercial industrial development projects?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution 2022-20 has passed. Let's see. Still have, okay, that's all I need for you, so thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. So we're not gonna do that. Words to superintendent report, 5.2. Okay. report.
Good evening again. As one of the board members already stated, we also attended the budget workshop the Capital Advisors put on, as well as staff finance. So to get current information about the state of the finances, both on a national level as well as on a California level and then a local level, has been important, which we will be reporting on in future meetings as well as it pertains to our district. And we also, at this point in time, it is almost August, you're right, it's July meeting, it's interesting to think about all that's been done so far in the summer. We're getting very excited about the new school year, and so much has been done during the school year to get us ready. Instructional services has been working very hard and doing a beautiful job to gear up for the new school year. And one of the things that we do every year, and that instructional services coordinates and does such a beautiful job leading, is Great Beginnings, which is a multiple day workshop and introduction to our district, where all of the new certificate employees get an introduction into the culture, the pedagogy, the practices that are foundational beliefs and present in our district. So thank you to Shelley and the whole team for doing so much to get ready for that. And I know Jenny and your team is part of that as well. Our special education team has consisted of administrators and teachers who did a beautiful job of putting together and teaching an ESY program all summer that just concluded, I believe. It was great, had a chance to be there, it was wonderful. Our human resources team, led by Mr. Stanley, has been interviewing and hiring all summer long. And we reached 15 employees yet. So a lot has been done and more to come. This is the busy time for human resources, so more to come with that. Business, facilities, technology, those departments are full of superstars also and have overseen so many projects all summer long. I see Sam, our new Chief Technology Officer, is here this evening too, and looking at, when you do huge deployments of new iPads for new computers for every teacher, and making sure that things are refreshed and ready to go, and new construction and new modernization throughout the entire district. Every corner of our district has been touched, and a lot of articulation and involvement has happened. Our after-school programs has had a great summer camp, and is already ready for the new school year and ready to open on August 15th at every one of our school sites. So we'll have a robust after-school program at every school site, all 9 again this year, beginning on day 1. And our Early Childhood Development Center is ready to welcome our little ones on August 8th. So a lot is going on, it's all great. And of course, school starts on August 15th, so it will be wonderful. We're looking forward to a great year. And huge thank you to those in the room who are getting things going, and of course, everyone who's not in the room that's been part of a great summer and getting us ready for what's going to be a terrific school year. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, this brings us to the consent agenda. Item 6.1 through 6.15 is other questions.
5.3. That's the last one we need to catch up on. And we're done.
Okay, 5.4, board approval minutes for the June 21st, 2022 special board meeting and June 22nd, 2022 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for these two board meetings?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I have to abstain because I was at those meetings, so.
Okay. Any opposed? So four. Okay, the motion to approve the minutes has passed. Opposed? Now we're in consent?
Yes.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on consent agenda items? Okay, if none, then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Just noting that 6.7 was removed as well as 6.30. Yeah. Okay, is there a motion for those two removed?
I'll move to approve the revised consent agenda.
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda is passed. 8.1. Okay, board approval resolution number 2022-21 of the Board of Trustees of the Delmar Union School District adopting an amended appendix of the Conflict of Interest Code pursuant to the Political Reform Act of 1974. Dr. McClure, will you tell us what this is?
Sure. So the Political Reform Act requires every local government agency to review its conflict of interest code biennially. And a conflict of interest code tells public officials, government employees, and consultants what financial interests they must disclose on their statement of economic interest. That's the Form 700. That's what this is.
Okay, and those amendments are attached to the agenda. Okay, are there questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve resolution number 2022-21?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? The motion has passed. Okay, 8.2, board appointment, citizens oversight committee members. Ms. Dahlman?
Good evening, proper members of the board, Dr. Clerk, Christelle Hankey, Superintendent of Business Services. And tonight we are bringing to you an appointment of a Citizens Oversight Committee member. Just before our last Citizens Oversight Committee meeting, Joseph Smith, who was one of our members at large, resigned from the committee. And so subsequently, we began to look into finding a replacement for him. As you remember, the Citizens Oversight Committee is a requirement of Prop 39, and so as we passed our general obligation bond, we are required to have a membership of at least 7 members. We have up here the membership organizations, and so there are 5 stipulated groups and then 2 members at large that we have on our committee. We can't have an employee of the district who's on the committee, and the governing board appoints the members. So we were fortunate in that Ira Sharp, a former member, had expressed interest. We went through the same vetting process, and Ira was still interested. So while this would be an initial term, we are recommending that we bring Ira back to the Citizens Oversight Committee to be a member again, especially his experience and work he's done through the district. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, that's great. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of the new Citizens Oversight Committee member?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is approved. Welcome back, Ira.
Thank you.
Okay. 9.1, board report facilities update. Guess who's presenting?
Sorry. Not as used to see. Got it. Yes, this is me again. Thank you, President Hopper. Our monthly facilities update, we will cover our Delmar Hills Academy modernization, Pacific Sky School, and the Delmar High School rebuild. And next month, we will bring back the summer projects. So we will have our summer projects update with a bunch of completed projects, because there's been a lot of great work, as Dr. McClure shared, going on. With Delmar Hills Academy modernization, we've talked about the previous community planning that we have done and the geotech investigation, the site survey, and our SQL work is ongoing. It should be a, CEQA isn't quite as elaborate because we are actually modernizing in place in this, this situation. We shared that the cost estimate was over budget and some of our next steps. And one of our next steps that we talked about was approving the leaseback contractor, which is later on the agenda. We are continuing with our design update. We're also working through the process with DSA because of the seismic retrofit. There was another step with DSA that we were going through to ensure that they are on the same page with us with the work we do to make that any seismic upgrades that we do in the modernization. And so we still are not extremely close to the modernization itself, and there will be further community input that we'll do, and we'll be bringing back for board approval an actual plan. But we would also be bringing on that contractor to help us with the look at how we get the best value out of the work we're doing and make the best decisions in moving forward with planning and then in phasing on the project. With Pacific Sky School, construction's ongoing. It's anticipated, but we will start by August 15th, and it's just a little over 2 weeks away. This is an overhead shot that is actually a week or two old because right now this field would actually look green to you. We've got the sod laid out, and we've now striped the driveway. So we're in really good shape. We have the anticipated full site still listed as January 2023, but we were in a meeting today and it sounds like we're much more likely to have everything completed sometime in the October-November range, so including the kitchen. So we're have to compliment Erickson Hall for keeping us ahead of schedule, doing a great job. And we will be able to open up that school with our after-school program classrooms open, all of our kindergarten classrooms open, all of our play areas open. And that field won't be open right away, but it'll be open right after Labor Day. So we're looking at really all of our educational facilities for the school very quickly into the school year. These are some pictures from outside. It's really coming together. So we've got the landscaping in. This is the back of the MUR and one of the slides that we put in. Another one that comes down to the lunch area. Seeing the striping in the front. And just some of that, I think, a cool little piece. This was going to look more like a bridge, but we landscaped it in a manner OBR kind of came up with, and Erickson Hall pivoted to reality where there's some sort of landscaping and rock that it gives it that look of what was in the original design. So excited to see that open and have students in the classes.
Just the lawyer.
Yeah.
Is there a pad on the bottom?
There absolutely is. Yes. In fact, Doug, this whole brown area is soft fall zone pad.
Okay.
And we have another one over here. So yes, we have.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the angle doesn't do it justice. There is a decent sized soft fall zone pad down here. You see a little bit of brown. It looks like it's much closer to that concrete than it really is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then our Delmar High School rebuilds, as we talked about, we have been stopped due to the injunction. We do have a court hearing for the city versus, say the field versus the city litigation on September 30th. We're still waiting for a date for the Court of Appeal in the original lawsuit that they brought against the district. We are hopeful that we'll get that hearing date soon, and we will update the board and the community as we get those dates and as we move forward with the next steps of that litigation. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right, let's roll into 10.2. Board approval of resolution 2022, resolution of the governing board of trustees of the Delmar Municipal District to approve leaseback agreements regarding the proposed Delmar Hills modernization project. Can you explain what that's all about?
I'd be happy to. Thank you. So 10.2, our leaseback service selection, we are bringing tonight. But let's start with the selection process. So the process for a leaseback is a little bit different than general construction where you do a low bid and it's right before you start construction. A leaseback is done where we go through an RFP and RFQ advertisement. We ended up with 10 submittals. We interviewed the top 3 scoring firms to come to selection. This selection is based on the best value process that was detailed in a resolution that we brought in April 2022-12. And so that goes through the process because we're really looking at the best value for the district. And we're looking at building a partnership with a firm, a construction firm, that can come in for preliminary services and pre-construction before we get to that construction piece. And as I said in our facilities update, with Delmar Hills, we have had a couple of things that make it more complex in the actual build than if you were just building from the ground up. And We wanted to make sure that we have a partner on the construction side to help us with cost estimating, to help us with looking at what is the best value and value engineering if there are items that we could do maybe at a lower cost but the same value that we're looking for so that we can get more done on the site. And bringing them in early allows us to partner them with us and with the architect to get the most out of that pre-construction process. So the next step would be board approval. And the board would be approving resolution 2022-22. This commits to, in the resolution, the completion of the CEQA process, and it commits to board approval of the final project. So the board would not approve the final project until we completed CEQA, and so the actual project itself will come back to the board prior to us then going into what we talked about before with a GMP and a bid out construction, which is quite a bit down the line in this case. And we would recommend that the board approve the award of the lease-leaseback agreement with Erickson Hall Construction for this Del Mar Hills Academy modernization project. These are a couple of pictures of work that Erickson Hall has done outside the district. They've done a lot of work, over $1 billion worth of construction in mostly in Southern California. And you also recognize Pacific Sky School because they are the team that is working on our Pacific Sky School and has, as we just shared, bringing the project in ahead of what was a potential time, and we believe will actually be a little bit under budget. So we're excited to have the team that has worked so successfully in the Pacific Sky School project be the team that they proposed. They've also completed a project in Solana Vista, San Marcos, Solana Vista, and Solana Beach, San Marcos. So they've done a lot of work in our area, and the firm has a wonderful reputation. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and we would request approval of this resolution.
Thanks, Chris, because the question I had was just, is this approving the entire construction project, or is it just approving the preliminary work? So this is just for the first part of it, where they work with us to finalize the proposed plan, which then has to go through CEQA, and then the board approves that, and then there's a construction amount.
Correct, and so we are approving that they would be our partner throughout, but as we come back, the actual construction would be, as you said, we'll go through CEQA, we'll approve CEQA, you'll approve the project. It will then get bid out through the subcontractors there, as we've done with Del Mar Heights, as we've done with Pacific Sky, and we'll come back again to the board to approve the price for the actual construction. So this is approving our contract with Erickson Hall. We have a partner through the preliminary pre-construction and into the construction, but it does not give us a price on what the actual construction will cost, and that will be a piece that we go out and we bid and brought back to the board also approved.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution for 2022-22 to approve the lease-leaseback agreement regarding the proposed Del Mar Hills modernization project? Second? In favor? Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Danny, Weigel in the audience, we're excited to work with you again.
Oh, thank you. Okay. 12.1 is preliminary items for the August 2022 regular board meeting. Are there any? Cover. Wait. Are you proposing that for the?
I'm not sure
2022 regular board meeting?
what's the feasibility of that.
Catherine, I heard when you were talking, you were mentioning this school year, which starts before the next regular board meeting. So I heard you mention potentially another meeting, which would be a special board meeting, and that's what I put into what
That's the question I
said.
had, either it's a special meeting or it's board meeting. Very fast. Within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, and that's what, Molly will be reaching out to board members about and exploring, getting constituent groups involved. Not, always put it on this meeting or next meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah, we should probably, if we go into special board meetings, have an agenda.
Okay. All right, so, 12.2, is adjournment to closed session. The board will make a closed session to consider the following matters. 13.1, conflict of negotiation Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representatives, Erica Halpern, Board President, Peter Fagan. Unrepresented employees are Assistant Superintendent of Services, Crystal Hunty, Assistant Superintendent of Special Services, Shelley Peterson, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Ryan Stanley, Superintendent Dr. Holly Miller. Board will now adjourn into closed session at 6:50 p.m.
Can they put it through this way? Oh, are they locked? Got it, got it.
Good catch.
I don't know, I was very impressed. I was Spidey skills. Yes, he was on the time, he was.
No.
Oh, I moved it, sorry.
Okay. Hello. We are at 14.1, reconvene open session, and we are reconvening open session at 9:48 p.m. 4.2, report of action taken in closed session. The board met in closed session in the following, and no action was taken. But we are at item 14.3. Local agency executive, and the proposed contract amendments before us this evening. The proposed contract will extend the term of the superintendent's current amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2025, to June 30th, 2026. The 4% increase based on salary and longevity that was added for the 2021-2022 school year, which expired on June 30th, 2022, will become an ongoing increase. This results in an annual salary of $272,085 for the 2022-2023 school year. All other material terms of the contract remain the same. Those terms are as follows. The superintendent will remain eligible to receive a $10,000 stipend for earning her doctoral degree. The superintendent remains eligible for up to $13,000 in performance benchmark merit payments and the longevity stipend. The superintendent will continue to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district's certificated full-time employees. Other fringe benefits include 12 sick days per year, 25 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in the Association of California School Administrators and other professional or community organizations as may be approved by the board, and reimbursement for the reasonable, actual, and necessary expenses while performing duties for the district. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's employment agreement? The Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Services is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Services' current amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. The 4% increase based on salary and longevity that was added for the 2021-2022 school year, which expired on June 30th, 2022, will become an ongoing increase. This results in an annual salary of $213,169 for the 2022-23 school year. All other material terms of the contract remain the same. Those terms are as follows. The assistant superintendent shall remain eligible at the same rate as other district local agency executives. In addition, the assistant superintendent of instructional services shall have the option to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district certificated full-time employees. Other fringe benefits include 12 sick days per year, 25 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in the Association of California School Administrators, and other professional or community organizations as may be approved by the board, and reimbursement for reasonable, actual, and necessary expenses while performing duties for the district. Is there a motion to approve the Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Services contract?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the contract has been approved. Next. Board approval, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. The Assistant Superintendent of Business Services is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services' current amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. The annual salary will be $192,400 for the 2022-23 school year. All other material terms of the contract will remain the same. Those terms are as follows. The assistant superintendent shall remain eligible for up to $7,000 in performance benchmark merit payments and a longevity stipend. In addition, the assistant superintendent of business services shall have the option to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district's classified full-time employees. Other fringe benefits include 12 sick days per year, 25 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in the California Association of School Business Officials, and other professional or community organizations as may be approved by the board, and reimbursement for reasonable, actual, and necessary expenses while performing duties for the district. Is there a motion to approve the contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, the contract has passed. Board approval, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. The Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract amendment is before us this evening. The proposed amendment will extend the term of the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources' current amended agreement, which would have expired on June 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. The annual salary will be $187,200 for the 2022-23 school year. All other material terms of the contract will remain the same. Those terms are as follows. The assistant superintendent shall remain eligible for up to $7,000 in performance benchmark merit payments and longevity stipends at the same rate as other district local agency executives. In addition, the assistant superintendent of human resources shall have the option to receive the health and welfare benefits which are provided to the district's certificate of full-time employees. Other fringe benefits include 12 sick days per year, 25 vacation days per year, payment for membership dues in the Association of California School Administrators, and other professional or community organizations as may be approved by the board, and reimbursement for reasonable, actual, and necessary expenses while performing duties for the district. Is there a motion to approve the contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the contract has been approved. Okay, now we are at item 15, adjournment of the meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Good evening, everyone.